Hello, my name is Marlin Knecht, and I'm CEO and President of Rational Data International and of the Virtual Global Nation. And I'm here to appeal to you, not as a U.S. citizen, but as a planetary citizen. The Virtual Global Nation is a new form of government that provides mechanisms for people's voices around the world to be heard. And Rational Data International is a social entrepreneurial organization that invented the third-generation web technology that makes the Virtual Global Nation possible. I want to invite you for a moment to imagine our planet from a universal perspective, as if we had the opportunity to visit planet Earth from the distant future and a far point across our galaxy, almost as if we were time-traveling historians. Upon arrival in this time, how would we evaluate the human species' development and stewardship over the planet at this choice point in human history? We might ask questions like, do they have an effective governance system in place that honors the many people around the world? Do they provide representation for all planetary inhabitants? Do they have marginalized populations? Do they peacefully resolve conflicts? Do they have a planetary management system in place to help manage their planetary resources? What is their criteria for success? Would it be sustainability, well-being, and abundance for all the inhabitants of the Earth, or some other criteria? And finally, would their criteria be in alignment with their capacity to survive their own technological adolescence? Almost as if visiting from our imagined future, I am here to talk to you today about a new kind of governance model, a new way to manage our planet, a new kind of technology, and a very pressing issue: the likelihood that our planet's ability to sustain our current day standard of living and the standard of living that many aspire to is rapidly coming to an end. "24 years ago, I started on a journey, one that consisted of and involved hundreds of dedicated people, and the development of hundreds of thousands of computer files that ran across 15 code languages and an investment of millions of dollars. This journey brought us to develop a solution for this time in human history. Through faith, perseverance, and heartfelt action, we designed an architecture that today we call the Universal and Global Solution Models. This is a 1,200-page book that is an overview of the full architectural stack that we designed to solve these problems. This architecture was designed to answer both root and systemic and exacerbatory or symptomatic issues on a planetary scale. Back in the early days of this project, we had the foresight to anticipate the problems that the first generation web would bring, not the least of which was a globalized world that resulted in a breakdown in geographically tied check and balance systems. With this in mind, we started building a solution for the future based on our new third generation web technology. This solution contains actionable paths that are designed to work in today's world and into the foreseeable future. The problems we face fall into two categories. The first of these are the root or systemic problems that have to do with our current systems and governmental models for managing our world. Second are the symptomatic or exacerbatory issues that are predominantly driven by human population growth, such as access to food security, clean water, clean energy, medical care, and access to economic opportunity. To address these issues, we must begin by solving root or systemic problems first. Many of the government's institutional models and check and balance systems that exist today are based on 17th century models that are tied to geographic areas and were not designed to deal with today's globalized world with an ever-increasing number of multidimensional and cross-border issues. Secondly, there are a number of new conditions like increased complexity, the realities of a highly networked world, and the need for an early detection and awareness system that helps us address issues relating to climate change, Earth systems, Earth threshold boundaries, the globalized economy, as well as individual events like the spread of disease, pandemics, and terrorism. For all these reasons and more, necessity demands that we put a new governance model and planetary management system in place, one that represents the voices of people all around the world. For the first time in human history, we are faced with some sobering realities. First, that we as the human species have reached the point of having significant planetary impact on Earth systems from climate change to overall ecosystems. Secondly, that we as the human species have significant impact on many other species. Today, habitat loss and degradation affect over 50% of the world's mammals. Moreover, the general trend is that populations of vertebrate species are shrinking on average to about half the size that they were 40 years ago. That is right, half the size in just 40 years. Third, that as a result of our advances in technology and its empowerment of the individual, it is now possible for the actions of one individual or a small group of individuals to have intended or unintended global consequence for the whole of the human species, for better or for worse. This has called us to consider, balance, and ensure the rights of the individual with those of the species as well as those of other species. Fourth, that natural events such as the spreading of disease, pandemics, near-Earth collision objects, and other phenomena can have planetary impact. This necessitates that we have a planetary management and response system in place. In times past, civilizations have risen and fallen, and with this we have seen conditions that have led to their demise. This has prompted historians to ask the question, why do civilizations fail? In a similar way, within the context of these new realities, we offer an analogous question to this. Why would a planetary population fail? It is very likely that these aforementioned realities are both a warning light and a choice point on the dashboard of human history. This calls us to recognize that we may well be facing a time in human history where we can no longer support the standard of living that most people are accustomed to on a planetary scale, unless we take proactive steps to prevent this. As we look back across human history, we observe that many times a new era was ushered in by a new technology. The printing press ushered in the Renaissance era, and computing ushered in the information age. Now, we introduce the new third-generation web that consists of a full-motion drive-through internet and the semantic and data grid layers that open up a whole new information universe. This provides the foundation to usher in an era of planetary governance and management and a new kind of voting where the voices of people all over the world can be heard. So I'd like to take a moment to talk about the specific steps we have taken and outline a roadmap that directly addresses these issues. The first step we have taken is laying a foundation through the third-generation web technology to establish a new, globally accessible, bottom-up, open, democratic, meta-level governance model called the Virtual Global Nation. This new nation, while being sovereign in its own right, also honors the sovereignty of other nation-states and their freedoms around the world. The second step provides representation for the newly emerged planetary citizen and citizen of humanity, which includes a new way of voting called issue-centric voting, that allows multidimensional issues to be better represented by tying them to information space rather than the political systems that are limited by geography. This better supports complex cross-border issues that affect people around the world. The third step allows us to use this new third-generation web technology to implement an early detection and awareness system. This permits us to monitor, anticipate, and respond to planetary events like those found in Earth threshold boundaries, life systems, seismic events, flu outbreaks, prediction of natural disasters, and more. The fourth step addresses planetary sustainability by installing a new planetary management system on top of the governance model, the elements of which are embodied in the Virtual Global Nations founding documents. And this provides a way for us to manage planetary resources. The fifth step establishes a new set of rights classes that are applicable to the individual, the human species, and other species across the spectrum of sentient and non-sentient life. This allows us to address the planetary ecosystem as a whole and implement planetary management. This is done within the context of the Earth's carrying capacity, Earth systems, life systems, and Earth threshold boundaries. This provides the foundational mechanisms for managing humanity's impact on the planet. The sixth step is on the level of technology, where we provide a completely new computer ecosystem that contains new hardware, a new web-based operating system, and a new layer in cyberspace. This provides new ways to close the digital divide. Today, only 3.3 billion out of 7+ billion people have access to the internet. Closing the digital divide allows increased access to voting, the new digital economy, a new kind of geography, and the n-dimensional information universe. The seventh step provides tools and instruments that support self-refinement and transformation on the individual, group, corporate, governmental, and planetary levels. In the eighth step, we utilize this technology to establish a new kind of educational system that empowers self-directed learning and provides a basis for an informed electorate the world over. This new technology allows us to leverage the collective knowledge, wisdom, experience, and understanding of a planetary population to solve problems that face us today. In the ninth step, we established a Homestead Act that empowers global economic development by providing free digital property and free end-to-end tool sets for building businesses, educational opportunities, solution models, and more. Up till now, many of us have had a feeling that something is broken at a root level, but couldn't exactly define what it is. By installing a new infrastructure model that includes a global governance model, a planetary management system, a new set of check and balance systems, and by providing voting based on information space, we can take a huge step forward at this critical choice point in human history and solve the problems that face us today. I believe we can rise to this challenge. We've done things like this before. We've put men on the moon, we've mapped the human genome, we've split the atom, and we've done interplanetary exploration. We can do this now at this critical juncture in the development of the human race. We're inviting participation from people from every walk of life, whatever your age, race, religion, philosophy, or creed, with one thing in common: the desire to bring about planetary sustainability, peace, possibility, and plenitude. This is the time to let your light shine, your brilliance to be seen, your heart to be felt, and your commitment to be made known. Thank you.